Hey, hey, hey! Welcome, welcome, welcome. It is Happy Wednesday, and as always, I'm happy to be doing an event here in the Crafty Bunch. And today we are doing another spotlight event. And spotlight today is a fellow crafter in the Crafty Bunch, of course. And her name, we share the same name. Her name is Kim. Her name is Kim Bernard. And so we have this little joke that I came up with where she's thing one and I'm thing two because they're both named Kim. And since she's been in the group longer, she's thing one and I'm thing two. But today is her spotlight. And if you're not familiar with what the spotlight is yet, then I'm going to tell you a little bit about that. In the Crafty Bunch, they've been letting us presenters give them ideas for the things coming up, and then they pick the people that they think has a good idea, and then they become the spotlight person. So I was the spotlight, I think, last month, and I think I'm actually going to be spotlight again for another idea. So anyway, I am so glad to be here once again, and this spotlight and this theme is actually, like I said, it's Kim Bernard, and the name of her. Hey, Chris, how you doing? Thanks for doing that, Chris. I appreciate that. But Kim's the name of her page is. My crafty corner. I believe that's what it is. Yeah, my corner, my crafty corner. I'm sorry, Kim. I should have written it down. I usually have it written down a little post-it note right in front of me, but I forgot to do that. I have the one from yesterday. I'd been sitting here all this time and didn't get that done. But anyway, she is coming up. And then let's see who is after me. Oh my gosh, I'm such an airhead. I forgot. I was the guy who write down who's after me. Oh, I'm sorry. I have her in my description. You guys, what's wrong with me? I'm usually on top of it. Anyway, as you guys are coming in, like I said, if you're not familiar with me or the Crafty Bunch, please say hi. Let's get some comments going. If you're watching this after the fact and you don't see the little red button up in the corner, then you can just tap on your screen and see the buttons at the top, and then you can follow me and be a part of the Crafty Bunch too. It's a really fun group. A lot of great ladies on there. And Miss Lisa was just finishing up. There's been a lot of really great crafters this today doing some fun stuff that are flipping. Now, basically, that's the theme is flipping. It's basically when you take something and you make it into something else. It can be something that you find from a thrift store or something new or just something that you have at home. And you decide that I can turn that into something. So that's what I'm doing. And that's what everybody, hey, Betty, how are you? It's good to have you here. Haven't seen you in a while, Betty, or maybe I'm just been missing you in the comments. Hey there, Laura, how are you? I just saw you over on Lisa's page. So, Laura, I know you like to work with clay a little bit, so you might find this one kind of fun and interesting. And that's a segue into, me again. If you're not familiar with me, I usually work with clay. Even if I do another project, I try to integrate a little bit of clay into it. And today is no exception. I'm going to be working with air dry clay and polymer clay. I did an event yesterday when we did. I had my husband was a cultural day, and we were working with air dry clay, but I did some polymer clay as that. So sometimes you can mix it up. That's what I'm going to be doing today. So, you've been AOL. I know, Betty. It's kind of like, honestly, it's a little saturated. There's so many crafters out there and amazingly talented crafters. I'm the same. Like I can watch what I can do, and I'm working. I still work part time, so I just try to catch people when I can. I try to watch a lot of replays, and just try to fill in the best. So we just do the best we can. But I hate it because I miss so much stuff because I know there's amazing people out there doing really great stuff. All right, so forgive me, guys, too, because I'm just getting over a little bit of a head cold and my throat's a little scratchy. So hopefully the talking, excessive talking makes me a little coffee like that. So excuse me if I do that. So I'm going to have to drink a lot. So let me do that right now. Kind of waiting for people to kind of mill over here anyway. Oh, by the way, if anybody doesn't know, I know these might sound gross, but I absolutely am in love with these things. A friend of mine from church had a daughter who gave her these and she didn't like them. I got like 15 of these things and they are not cheap, but they are raw juice drinks. And I adore them. I can drink them all day long. All right, sorry about that. I know that it's loud because I got a headset on too, so sorry about the noise in the ear with the coughing. All right, so let's go ahead and talk a little bit about my project and get going. let's see. So what I decided to do, I was kind of racking my brain too, kind of like Lisa, and I came up with an idea. I love these globes, by the way. These are from Dollar Tree. I've used them in a couple different ways, but I kind of ran across an idea from Pinterest, and not gonna lie, but of course I'm gonna make it my own, and I'm totally modifying it from the original one. So my husband, my husband. I didn't miss that. What did I say that's related to your husband, Laura? I'm sorry, I missed that. So anyway, I'm taking one of these globes, and I'm gonna make a really cool snail out of it. Actually, this is gonna be the back of the snail. So there's a couple ways as I show you the clay project. I'll explain. There's a couple ways you can do it. You can either make it like a bowl like this, upwise, or you can turn it upside down. I chose to turn it upside down. Oh, the drink. Oh, yeah, he likes those. Well, good for him because they're so good for you. A lot of people don't like them because they're not as sweet as most drinks they drink, and they're like, ooh, that's weird. But oh my gosh, I live off them things. All right. So anyway, so yeah, so you can eat. Mine's going to be turned upside down, and I'm going to be putting lights inside of it, so like it'll be like a little globe light. It'd be really cute. Okay. Kind of whimsical. So that's what we're doing. I'm going to be flipping this little bowl into a snail. Okay, a whimsical fun snail, which you could technically, you could put in. Well, I'm using air dry clay, so I really wouldn't stick it out in your garden because it won't hold up. If it was polymer all the way, I would say yeah, but air dry clay will not endure even if it's sealed. It'll eventually break down over time. All right, so um, I'm going to go ahead and turn my screen down, my second camera, so you can see the close-up work because it works so much better for me. Like I said, anybody caught me. Thank you there, Miss Deborah. I appreciate that. I loved your little flip-flop project. I'm you talking about shoes in summer, girl in Florida, except for maybe a couple months out of the winter, and even that, I live in flip-flops. I mean, I have bad feet, but I have to have like orthotic flip-flops because I love wearing flip-flops. Although right now I do have my Skechers on that I just recently got for walking. So I took a walk today. All right. So anyway, but yeah, Florida flip flops, that's the way to go. So let me go ahead and switch down my camera, and then we'll get going on this, and I'll show you what I got going on. I do have, but you're going to kind of learn a really kind of a cool technique. Oh, you're eating chocolate now. Don't tempt me, girlfriend. All right. I like me some chocolate. I do. We found out yesterday, if anybody was watching my the event with my husband, the culture event, that he's from Mexico, and Mexico is where chocolate originated from, which is pretty darn cool. All right, so let me get my camera situated here. I've got quite a few things going on, guys. All right, so the first part I did, I pre-do a lot of things because of the time element involved. This is my piece of clay that I've have rolled out in my little sheet. It's going to be like my brother. It started like this, and you just take chunks and then roll it, and then I take my roller, my rolling pin, and I roll it out and get it to that. I'll be putting some texture on it and all that sort of thing. All right, but the first thing I did yesterday is I went ahead and I put this over here. So I should put glass on glass to make noise. I pre-did my snail. Let me show it. There he is. He's right there. He's kind of cute, huh? Believe it or not, I just whacked him. He's not totally dry. He's out of the air dry clay, and that's the Crayola. He's not totally dry. He's going to take a couple days because it's pretty thick, and I expect him to crack, which I've learned from this particular brand of clay. And I don't really care for it that way, but it's such a bulky piece that I wanted to use that air dry clay instead of using up my polymer because the air dry clay is less expensive. But anyway, that's why I'm doing a combination. But even if he does crack, I'll just repair him. That's one thing kind of nice. I'll just add some little more clay to him. But I am going to end up painting him today too. And I don't care if it does crack because I'll be able to fill that in. Yeah, he's going to be really cute. You like his little eyes, what to get his eyes painted. Okay. So, yeah, so what it's going to be is, and I'm letting you know right now, I got to thinking about this. If anybody ever decides to want to try this, I would put once this dries, I'm not going to lift it up off here because I don't want it to crack. Once it's totally dry, I'll be able to basically take him off of this little piece of tile. And then I'm probably going to put an extra like thick layer underneath him just because it'll give it more support because I'm realizing it's probably a little thin. And it'll be mobile, but I know that this air dry clay is a little fragile. So I would make it a little extra thick. I'd probably put at least another ½ inch underneath there on his bottom half, just so he has more security from cracking. Okay, so here's the thing. We're taking the globe. Now I have a smaller globe from I guess these are globes. I don't know, bowls. They're not really bowls, or I guess they're bowls really. But this one here is a smaller version of that one. Now what is this? I took some of the air dry clay and I put it on top of the flat piece. I'll show you that. Hey there, let's see who's Lisa's Crafts. Oh, Lisa, that's you. I'm looking at two screens. I've got a screen, somebody else says, hey there. I'm not sure. Sonia, Seashed Sensations. Kim says hi. Oh, hi, Kim. I don't know if it's hi. I get a Facebook user sometime on my other screen from ScreenYard, but I'm looking at my one too. So, hi, Facebook user, whoever you are. After Lisa's Craft House, somebody said hi, Kim. I'm not sure who that is. Anyway, so like I said, this is a flat bottom. And if you wanted to, same thing with this, you could do it like this and set it so it sits like a little bowl, and you could make it a bowl or a planter. Oh, Angie Wade, there you are. You always come up like to that to me. Hey, darling, so sorry to hear about your grandma. I know that that's a tough time for you, and she seemed like she was so special to you guys. So, it's going to take time to heal, but prayers and thoughts are with you, girl. Okay, so like I said, this is stuff you could just literally sit it down on like that and call it good and just do the snail. But I'm going to go the extra mile and cover this bowl up and make it like a really fun little back project. Uh, Ever diverse. Oh, you want some chocolate? Yeah, yeah. I'll have to get me some afterwards. I keep a little stash of them around the house. Anyway, so the reason I put this clay on here is because I want it to be a round back. I thought about leaving it flat and then having like another little critter sitting on top of him so you can have a place to sit. But I thought, well, no, actually, he is going to have a little bird. I've got the little molds. I made a little bird. This one's not, this was still raw, and I haven't painted him yet because I haven't decided what colors I want to do him. So I'll probably bake him like this, and then I'll just attach him at the end. But the little bird's going to be sitting up top there. And then I also have some of these leaves. Okay, here's my little molds, my little silicone molds. I went ahead and did this for the sake of time, guys. If you've never seen that, I guess one day I'll have to show you how to do the molds. And this one was a bird mold. I took this one. Actually, I got lucky because it had two opposite ones. If you're going to do a dimensional piece like this, it's called 3D. You need to have the opposite ends of the molds so that you can put them together. And believe it or not, I don't even think they meant to do that. I think it was just kind of an accident. These two are opposite, or maybe they did mean to do it. So I was able to get a full, two-sided bird off of that one. All right. I am working on a project too with a mermaid that I'm creating my own mold. So I think I'll make a reel on that so you can see how to do that. Anyway, so back to the snail. So the snail, I'm going to paint him, even though he's not totally dry. You can actually do this. You can paint the clay, the air dry clay, before it is dry. Like I said, I do expect it to crack, but I will repair it, whatever cracks and whatever goes on, because you can already see right here, this isn't totally dry, but it's already starting to crack. It does not matter on this one because it's going to be covered with I'm covering this up with these polymer clay, and it will cover it. And even if it does crack underneath, it won't matter. You won't see it because the polymer clay will already be dry and will have its shape. I just need it to hold something. And then I'll be able to add, but I am going to put little holes in here for the light to shine through. So anyway, enough talking about it. Let's do something, all right? So I think first I'm going to go ahead and paint this guy up, and just using my acrylics, and then I'll work on the veneer part. I've got that little window of time, so I don't expect to get everything done, but if I can get this part done, that'd be great, because painting them won't take too long. I'm just basically doing like some brown tones and stuff like that. And then I'll show you, the real important part is to show you how to put this, it's called a veneer actually when you cover something like this, draping, you're doing a veneer. I'm going to show you how I put that on the bowl. And you can do this with any kind of glass object, so that's pretty cool. Once you learn the concept of this, you can just do it on, anything like that. And you can do it around glass as well, which if you guys see me do some of my steampunk glasses and things like that, that's basically the same concept. As you take a piece of that, you take a thin sheet like this, so like I said, they call it a slab or veneer, and you put it on the glass. And it does, if you cover it up pretty good, it's pretty sticky. So, yeah, it works pretty good that way. Let me see. I wanted to use a couple like a tan and a brown. He's going to be brown. I was always, my thing, like I said many times, I always debate like what colors I want to use because I love so many colors. I love so many styles, and I get stuck sometimes as far as what I want to do. So, but I'm realizing I was going to do his back green, even though that was the one in the Pinterest. I don't like to copy exactly, but even though mine's going to be different because I don't have a lot of green stuff lately. But then I got to thinking I really want to do leaves on here, and I want the leaves to be green. I could have done a different green, but I'm going to go ahead. I think I'm going to do his back yellow, like with a yellow, and put some yellow tones on him. Like I said, I'm not moving him right now. I know the lighting. Let me see if I can get my camera down a little bit here, guys. My light is kind of, both my ring lights are basically shining, face forward, so they're not really shining too much on the actual object itself. But I've got pretty decent light in here. My little studio area is a, quote unquote she shed thing, and I've got a roll top and a screen on the front of it. So I've got that up, and it's a beautiful sunny Florida day in the 80s here. It's really nice. So is everybody enjoying the event? Like I said, this is a spotlight event, and Miss Thing won. That would be Kim Bernard with My Crafty Corner. She's going to be up. I think she's up at 5 or 6. They're all in the lineup, guys. I am so sorry. I usually have it together that way, as far as like everybody's name and whatnot, because I write it down, and I usually have it in front of me, but I forgot to do that today. So, and I should know who's up next week because I've rehearsed it 4 times. Whoever's here and is up after me, let me know. A mission. You know what? You got to go back and see we had such fun yesterday. It's on the replay, Angie, of course, on my page. So go watch that, because it was the first time that Robert's ever sat down with me on a live. He's always poked his head in a little bit. Some of us girls have done our little group sessions on our other group, and he'll pop in and say hi or something like that. But he actually sat down with me yesterday and hung out, which is him. He's a bit on the impatient side. He likes to move all the time. So the fact that he actually did that for me is like, oh man, I love him for that. Plus, I'm representing this country, so I needed him there. I was thinking that was the only country I could think to represent. Although my history is from Wales, I believe. Wales, that's what I've heard. My last name is Woodham, and then my other side of the family is Jones. So that my aunt did one of those genealogy things, and she discovered we have a lot of history from Wales. But and I did meet Tom Jones, by the way, one time. I see there I go hitting that eyeball. It's the second time I've done it. So it's not dry. I'm actually going to have to probably repair that, because I just whacked him in the eye. But like I said, once he's dry, I'll be able to fix any little idiosyncrasies that come up on him. And I am going to add a little bit tan on here too. I don't want him to be all solid color. Judy. Oh, that's it. Thank you so much. I'm so sorry for not remembering that. It's Judy. And I know that. I looked at it 5 times. But my blonde brain, I swear sometimes, it just doesn't hold things like it used to. Yeah, Judy from Wyatt's Whatnot. She's up next, guys. She is in the description. And I did tag her, so you guys should be able to go over and see her, or just stay on the Crafty Bunch and you'll be able to check that out. All right, so I'm just kind of lightly touching his face here. He's got some cute little lips. I think this is going to be a guy. I don't know. I think I see this one as a guy, not a girl. So, and I know, like I said, it might be a little bit, direction might be hard for you guys to see right now, but once I get him paint him, I'll hold him up a little bit better to the screen. I got to do kind of, like I said, he's not dry yet, so I got to go a little bit light on him until I get him dried up. So what are you guys up to this week? Let me see. This is Wednesday. We're halfway through the week. Anybody got some good weekend plans going on? I was going to look up some snail facts, but I forgot to do that too. I've been, when you get a little bit sick, you don't think right. So I've been kind of just basically, you're wandering about. I've even been out of work the last few days. So I'm like, okay, I'm feeling like a little lost. I'm ready to get back to work tomorrow and get back in the swing of things. And I might end up coloring him a little bit different once he's dry too, and just finagle him, because I usually go back and do that. Sometimes I add a little distressing medium on him or something like that, but he does have his first coat on there. Yeah, see what I did with the eyes, actually I'll go ahead and pull this one out since I can. When I did the eyes, I put them on a little piece of floral wire. Okay, I sculpted a little piece on the floor wire, and then I stuck them inside there, since that one actually already came out. But I'll end up having to glue that back in and kind of fixing that once he gets totally dried up. And he'll be pretty cute though. Oh, hey Terry, how are you, darling? I was missing you yesterday. I'm sure you were busy doing something, but I kept looking for you when I was on with my husband. Hope you go back and watch because we had fun. We made some cactuses, and I actually thought of you. I'm finishing them up, the cactuses, because I had to wait for them to dry because they're air dry clay too. And then I need to get some gravel for my pots and whatnot and make them cute. But I thought you would really enjoy the cactuses that we were made since you live out in Arizona. All right, so honestly, I think I'm going to kind of leave him aside right now because I need to paint his eyes too, and I don't want to waste too much time with that because I want to get on to covering up the glass part with the veneer because that's to me one of the real cool things that you need to see as far as like techniques and whatnot. And his eyes, they'll be painted white, or maybe I'll do them green. I don't know. I don't know color. Who knows? Maybe I'll paint them blue since I got blue eyes. Anyway, so there's the basic snail. Okay, and like I said, he'll get jazzed up a little bit more. But and then I've got all my pieces here, which you'll see in a second. These are my leaf pieces I took from my molds, and these are the polymer clay, and they're still raw. And I will paint them the green tones too, and I'll lay them out however I'm going to lay them out on the glass. But for now, I'm going to move this over, get my paints out of here, and we're going to work on getting that little piece of globe covered up. All right, so yeah, so there's the snail. You can kind of see him right there. Like I said, he's going to be cute. All right, and then let's move this over. Switch a Rui here. Whee, got too many fragile things. I'm always afraid I'm going to break something. All this glass hanging around me. All right, so let's put my camera up a little bit. All right, so now, like I said, I'm on my little turnstile here. When I cover something up, it's especially, it needs to drape. So I like to have something that's a little bit, in other words, I don't like to set it on a flat surface like this because you can't get to the bottom of your edge if that's what you're trying to achieve. So it's nice to have something that kind of so the piece can kind of hang over to the side. And of course, this is just one of those little pedestals from the Dollar Tree that eventually will turn into a project. I haven't decided what I want to do with it yet. But the first thing we're going to do right now, before I even do this, I just realized, is I'm going to take this piece here of my clay, and this is a little Temu stencil here. Everybody's all about Temu these days. And I picked one here. I was going to do flowers, but I thought, well, I'm going to do this. So I think this is kind of a cool design. I'm just going to roll this pattern out on the clay. Now, bear with me because this is going to get messed up again when I put it over the globe because I have to kind of distort the clay a little bit, but I'll be able to kind of re-roll it somewhat and get it to looking good. And I just kind of wanted to get a basic texture. I've been watching events all week, but nobody has seen my comments. Oh, okay. I love seeing you. Oh, so you were there yesterday? Okay. All right. I didn't even see you, darling. I'm so sorry. Anyway, so yeah, I'm just kind of rolling this out and getting a kind of a fun little texture here with the stencils. That's what's so cool about stencils, besides painting on them, especially with clay, they're great for texture. And this is kind of a thin stencil, like it's not real thick wise. So it's not going to make a real heavy impression, but it'll definitely get an impression. And like I said, it's just about getting some texture on there. I'll go back and retexture it because once you guys see me working with this thing and how I'm going to put it on here, you'll see that I'll have to kind of retexture it a little bit. But this at least gives it a starting point, so to speak. And it's kind of like really not no rhyme or reason. I'm just sort of, let me get my camera, look at myself. There we go. No rhyme or reason. I'm just kind of putting a little texture on there to have something. It's got a little line on there too, but I ain't worried about all that. It'll all kind of cover up nice. All right. Now this is my firmer clay, so you have to put a little bit more press on it to get that impression on there. Well, it's really pretty actually. I don't know if you probably can't see that in the camera, but it does and once it's painted, it looks really cool. That's when it really comes to life. All right, now I got that. Let's go ahead and get that on this globe. Put my thing up again, camera. Move this over. It's like I've got not musical chairs, but musical craft things. All right, so yeah, he definitely needs some paint. So I just kind of threw that on there real quick. All right, so let's see what we can do with this. All right, so here's the deal. Of course, you don't need a really, if you're using, if it's ceramic clay, of course, the slabs are usually bigger and there's other ways that you can make, circles and whatnot. But with the polymer clay, you don't need a really thick layer, especially if it's going on something that's already solid. So why waste your clay? So what I'm doing here, let me see if I can get my camera up a little bit more. What I'm doing here is basically just trying to taking it and I'm draping it over, okay? And I'm trying to get it, I'm kind of looking to see. Now, it's not going to be all the way down probably on either side. I've already realized that. So I'm just trying to get it as even as possible because I'm going to be cutting some of this away. Because all these little edges here, I'm going to trim them off in a second. But I just kind of want to see that I've got it somewhat to where, because I'll probably have to stretch it and make it work a little bit. Okay, and it seems a little funky, but here we go. We're going to take a pair of scissors and we're going to cut this off. Okay, so we're going to take, and I'm just going to cut this part right here. And that's what I meant, like I'm going to end up distorting the clay. So, the little pattern looks, it's going to kind of go away a little bit, but I'll add it more on. All right, and then I'm going to take, and I'm going to cut this little piece off here. And if I don't have enough on the bottom when I'm done, like on one side, then I'll just fix that as I go. Okay, and then I'm going to, let's see, I try to work it a little bit. This clay is stretchy, so you have a little bit of play with it. So, but then, I want it to be fairly straight and uniform. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this bottom part off somewhat so I can kind of see. This was the wrong thing to choose. This little pedestal, I was trying to find the right thing to choose. And I cut it kind of short. Oh, dorky Kim. All right, well, I cut that one too short because it curves down. You got to be careful about your curve down because it's kind of wanting to slide off there. But all right, let's see what we can do to kind of get this thing pressed down. And you do have to work it a little bit. Try to get it in there and get it so it looks normal. And, get your seam lines fixed and whatnot. But then you just kind of play with it. Get that little, you want to get that little bubble out there kind of thing. That's another thing too. When you're doing this, you want to put a press on it because you know what? Let me switch this over. It's just driving me crazy. I think it's going to fall. I think this will work better. There we go. See, that's what I should use to start with. Kind of works. I like to use generally a bottle, but I couldn't find a bottle that would fit this globe size. So I'm just kind of pressing these in here, guys, and I'm making these seams match. And I was jabbing a little bit. I kind of cut it maybe a little bit too short, but it ain't going to matter. I'll fix it all in the end. But one thing I was going to say is make sure that you don't have air bubbles in this when you're doing it. So you work it down and you kind of smooth it, whatnot, and you get it to where you don't see any like bumps in there. Like you actually kind of see like little bumps and lumps in there. This one, even though that's got that right there, I'm just going to press it into it and kind of make it a part of the piece so that it looks, you'll be able to kind of to work it in and you won't be able to see that. Plus, I'm going to be putting the leaves on top of it, and I'm going to be adding some little holes. I'm going to punch some little holes in it in a minute once I get the actual globe piece the way I like it. And then so that I'll be able to put like a little light inside of it. I've got those, you can either use one of those battery operated tea lights, or you can use, I've got these two, the little fairy lights from the bottles. Oh, little bottle fairy lights. I've got quite a few. I got a pack of those off Amazon that have been sitting around, so I figured I can use those. But you don't want to try to have too much excess too. You want to kind of get your seams to match and all the thing. So I need to try to figure out, I need to look and see my comments. Let me see. Hi, Kim. Hey there, Miss Terry. How's it going? That's a cool stencil. It reminds me of the painting, the screen. Yeah, it does. It's kind of like that. It's got that real swirly effect. And actually, that would be a good background for that. If anybody wanted to do that. Yeah. So I'm a little bit short on my edges, but I ain't scared. I ain't worried about it because I can actually just pull this clay down to make that meet. And one thing about this too is the edges are going to be sitting on top of the snail. So you're technically really not even going to notice the edges. And, it's a whimsical piece. So perfection is not where I'm at with this thing. But I do want to get it, this part, with these seams and things like that, kind of smoothed out because I don't want it to be like a big old lumpy bump on there. Unless you actually just went for a lumpy bump and then, you could just make everything kind of lumpy and bumpily. But this is showing through. You can see the polymer clay, how it does set, and it's actually showing a little bit of that other clay underneath. But I'm not worried about that either, because like I said, once I get all my little elements on there, I think it's going to hide it just fine. If a person wanted to, they didn't have to do this little globy part, you know, make that little round part up top, but I really wanted it to be more round all the way. Now I'm going to take it off here, and I'm going to turn it over for a second, guys, so you can kind of see. All right, so I'm kind of working it like this, and then once I get it worked down to that edge, I'm going to trim that part off, and then I can finish working on it. Sometimes if I cut them too short like I did in here, I'll just add another piece to it or kind of stretch it. You know, it's going to be a little bit thinner in one spot, but you can see the thickness of this is actually, it doesn't look thick, but this is actually pretty thick for a polymer clay, believe it or not. That stuff dries, you know, nice and hard, so you don't need a real thick one. A lot of people that do jewelry and they do caning, man, they get that stuff like super thin, like paper thin. It's crazy. When you get a pasta maker, you can get it out really thin. So let me see, go back and look at a couple of my comments here while I'm playing around with this thing. It's cool stencil. Yeah, okay, I guess I'm caught up with everybody. All right, so like I said, I'm almost there, guys. And when I get this part done, then we'll get to play around, put all the little fun stuff on it. Okay. All right, let me go ahead and trim that off. Where do I need? Let me see. I can use either, you can either, an X-Acto knife is great. I like to use my little blades, my little tissue blades, because I think they're just cleaner, and you can literally like lay them flat along the edge like that, okay? And just cut that off. All right. And there we go for that one. Just kind of trim all that crap off of there. And we got a bowl. Now, like I said, I've got some really cool pieces that I've done that are more abstract, and I really love doing those. They're more like, yeah, I guess it would call like a real modern abstract pieces of these bowls that I did for several gifts, actually. And I just took little separate pieces and I pieced them all together, made some really cool, funky designs on them and textures. And I keep saying I want to do more of those, but I start doing other things. You know, I just not enough time in the day to do everything I want to do. But those are super cool. And if you go to my Pinterest, you can see those because I've got this in my page. All right, so it's kind of it's starting to take shape, guys. See how it is? But you got to make sure, like I said, that it doesn't have any of those air pockets in it. It's not a big deal if it does have an air pocket, but it's just what happens, and I see one right here, is if you have a little air pocket, you can poke it with your, just the edge of your X-Acto knife and kind of flatten it down, because when it bakes, it'll kind of create like a little bubble in there. So you want to try to make sure that's kind of pretty smooth. All right. Oh, go down and have a comment, see what we're looking at here. We're out here. Oh, hey there, Miss Melanie. Couldn't get your name out. Miss Melanie, how are you doing, darling? How are you doing? Saw your donkey last night. You guys did the donkey, huh? Your draw along. You always have the cutest little draw alongs. Okay, so you can see that I've actually took a lot of that image off, but I'm going to show you how you can put it back on. The one thing I like about these, when you're using the thin stencils like this, they're pretty flexible, and I'm just literally going to put it right on top of the globe and just roll it on. So I probably even kind of wasted my time doing it, pre-doing it, but hey, it don't matter. It only took me a second to do that. So, I mean, it's looking pretty good. I see a couple little spots here. You know, like I said, you just do that kind of number, and then you just press them down. Hopefully I don't have too many more of those. All right, so what I'm going to now show you, I'm going to put this texture back on here, and I can either press it or I can take my little guy right here and just roll it, okay, and just kind of put the texture back on, and it comes right back. So that's kind of cool. I've got a higher, what you call it, like little turnstile here, but I went with the lower one. I probably should have got the higher one to be able to see it, work with it better, but hopefully, let me try this. Okay. All right, so put it right there. So I'm just going to add some more of that texture on there. Yeah, I've been seeing everybody doing their donkeys too. They're kind of fun. All right, and I don't expect the texture to be, I just didn't do it this way. It's easier to hold it in my hand and do it. I'll be one-handed, but I can handle that. And just kind of roll it on there. It's easier that way. You got more control. All right, but see, I'm bringing the texture back on that now. That's kind of cool. And when you're doing this, it kind of rolls a little bit of the, like if you have any extra bubbles and things like that, it kind of rolls it out. So and it will stick to the glass and stuff, adheres to the glass pretty well. So you don't have to use any kind of adhesive or anything like that with it. Only if it's a very small piece will I put any of my clay adhesive on there. That's looking pretty good. Because like I said, I'm going to have some other things on top of it anyway. And it's going to have holes in it. I'm going to be cutting some of this out. So you cook it. Yes, you bake or cook whatever, the whole thing in the oven. And even the air dry piece that's underneath it is not going to be an issue because this polymer clay will just bake right over it. So yeah, you just bake the glass and everything. The things, I guess I've got a video course. If anybody really wants to learn, I'll give you the whole rundown on, how to bake and the different things. But basically the things that you can bake in the oven with the clay is metal and wood and paper and glass, aluminum works, wood skewers, things like that. Those are things that can bake in the oven with the polymer clay because it's baked at 275. And so it's baked at a fairly low temperature. And it doesn't, like it won't burn or anything, like your paper won't set on fire. Of course, your little silicone molds, the ones that are for baking fondant, I think those were in the temperature range, and you can do that too. All right, I think that's pretty good, guys. I think I got a pretty good coverage. Like I said, I'm not worried about that little bubble thing on top because I can cover that up with the leaves. Okay, so we're going to get this out of the way. And what I'm going to do now is bring him up. Look at my time. I've got my timer on, and I will be doing my giveaway tool, guys. I got it set up, so make sure you hang till the end. Anybody that knows me knows that I do a little giveaway tool, and I'll give you a hashtag word, and you can put that in, and then you'll win a $5 gift certificate from Amazon. I do that every time I go and do a live event. Okay, now let me bring my snail over here, and I might have a little bit of time to paint him, but I probably won't. Excuse me, that was pretty gross. All right, so you can get the idea. It's gonna set up there like that. Okay, snail's gonna sit up there. But let's work on the globe a little bit more. First thing I want to do is I need to get my thank you. I know I'm getting over this dang crud. I've had it since last week. I caught it on Friday. I've been out of work and everything. Okay, so let's see. I need to figure out where I'm going to paint the globe, by the way. I need to do that in a minute. But I'm going to paint this globe. I think I'm going to do it like a yellow. I could paint it all afterwards, but I'm going to paint it before because I want my leaves to kind of stick on here with the whole thing and bake together. So I'm just trying to figure out exactly where I want all these. They're going to be kind of arbitrary and see. But I think first thing I probably need to do is just go ahead and put paint coat on this thing and get that done. All right, so let's bring this back over and paint her up. I think I'm just going to do yellows. I thought about doing like a yellow orange and then the green leaves. And then, I'll probably add a little distressing medium onto it. And, I'll make it cute once I get it done. But let's get this first coat of paint on here so that I can put, yeah, it's going to be super cute. Like I said, when you watch what I do. After I get it painted, I'm doing this before I hit paint it because I don't want the glass to get paint on it. I'm going to be doing some cutouts. I'm going to put some little holes in here, and that way when the light is underneath it, the light will shine out from it. So it's going to be super freaking cool. All right, let me get my paintbrush here. Probably got a little brown on there still. All right, so we're just going with a yellow and orange. But yeah, I encourage anybody. Now, air dry clay, I don't know about trying this on air dry clay, to tell you the truth. I think it would break it, and you cannot get air dry clay thin like this. To cover anything like this, you've got to use polymer clay, girls. I'm just letting you know. And you got to be able to roll it out in those little sheets and use a pasta maker and all that. But now, like I said, I've mentioned this before, and I so want to do this. I'm trying to figure out a schedule and a time for me. I really, really, really want to start my own little private subscription group again. I had one last about a year ago, and I honestly didn't have enough followers on that. I was kind of busy, so I just kind of let it wayside. But I have my own Mud.Clay.Art page that is not really being tended to right now, but that's set up for that purpose. And if I do start a subscription group, it will be there so we can do projects together. I'm only going to probably start it out like $8 a month, something like that, real easy for people to get in there. And I'll give you projects every month that we can do together. Like we'll go through Zoom or somewhere so we can all interact, visually and have a good time. And I've got it all laid out, guys. So I'm trying to get that, tease people, because I know there's a couple people that are interested in wanting to do that. And, I'll make announcements on that and give you enough time and open up a window for that when at times. But there's a lot of really fun things that you can do with this clay. And it won't be all be polymer clay, but for the most part, I like to work with polymer because it's just the coolest to work with, I think. All right, so we got that guy. Here's the one thing too is with this, you don't want to put a heat gun to it. Well, you kind of can, but what happens is the heat gun kind of starts setting up the clay because it's not dry. Once the clay is dry, you can heat it, but this kind of needs to air dry when you do it raw like this. Thank you there, Miss Jan. Jan, I'm so glad to have you back, but you look like you had a blast up there in Colorado. Like I said, I've been up there once, and I've got some interesting Breckenridge stories, but we'll talk about that on the sideline sometime. Anyway, so yeah, so that's it. Now, what I'm going to do, how much time I got? My 5-minute thing's going to go off in here in a second, but I do want to show you this. I'm going to go ahead and place my leaves on because I need to know kind of where I want them. I definitely want to kind of touch on that little bumpy bump there. And my bird's going to sit on top too. I'll get my little birdie on top and I'll get him painted up. But let's kind of just lay these leaves out and see how they're going to do. And I will be painting them green, so I'll probably end up taking them off of here and redoing it. Let's see what else I got. I used 2 different colors of clay. It don't matter because they're all going to be green, but I used my white and my beige. Just because that's what I ran out of my white and I didn't want to open up another brick, so I just ended up using that. So let's get a couple down here like this. Okay. And I was going to do flowers, but I thought, you know what? Sometimes these snails, they get caught up in all them leaves and they're kind of out in the brush. They kind of hide out a little bit. So there's my 5 minutes. So I got 5 minutes. So guys, while I'm finishing up here on these 5 minutes, I'm actually organized today, thank God, except for not remembering who was after me. Go ahead and I'm going to give you the hashtag word now so we can do the giveaway tool. So you guys go ahead and start putting in hashtag flip, F-L-I-P, hashtag F-L-I-P. Now, Lisa from Craft House is already won, and so is Catherine Kelly this month. So I would appreciate, you guys to kind of hanging in the wings and not participating and let somebody else have a chance. Because I can't do it over once I do the giveaway tool. It's already set up for one time. So, you guys have already been winners, and you'll be getting your gift certificate at the end of the month. But let's let somebody else. So hashtag flip, and then I'll be doing that giveaway tool soon. All right, so I don't know. I might replace them somewhere. But the reason I want to do this is I want to see where I need to put my holes, because I'm going to add the holes to this thing. And let's see. Yeah, I kind of maybe put it there. I'm just kind of place them in anywhere. And like I said, I'll end up taking them off and making them. I could technically do it all this and then paint them green, paint the whole thing green. But I thought if I do that, then it's going to be harder to paint. So it's easier to paint them. Where's the last one need to go? I don't know. It's easier to paint these raw pieces, paint them separately, then put them back on there. Okay. So now here's the next step, guys. And the next step I'm going to do is I'm taking these little hole punchy guys. Okay. I've got a couple different sizes. I wasn't sure I might do a couple different ones. Thank you, Jan. Yeah, this is going to be super, super cute. Seriously. So at this point, I'm just going to be punching those and taking them out. Hopefully these things will dig out pretty good. There we go. I'm going to dig them out. And even though they're painted, I don't care about the paint color on there. This is going to create so you can have your light shining through it. All right, so you guys go ahead. Like I said, get your hashtag flip in the comments, and I'll be running that giveaway tool here in a second. All right, so that one's, oh, I shouldn't have done that because I can't do them on the top because I put that darn thing up there. So I need to get that one out, fill that hole back in. Okay, I got to remember that. I got to put the holes down towards the bottom because that's where the light's going to shine in because you won't be able to see it. All right, so I'm going to do that I'm just going to put a few holes, and then I am going to I'm going to put the lights in there so you guys can get an idea. I think you'll be able to see it real quick. I'm always scrambling around at the end for time here. That one didn't turn out so well. Sometimes these things, with the little turny thing, if you grab it, like do this number and just kind of twist it a little bit, you can kind of get those guys to come out pretty clean. I will be putting a lot more holes in here, by the way. So there we go. I think I've got enough holes for now. Let's go ahead and see if I can just put the lights underneath there. So I've only got like 2 minutes. All right, let me just set it together, and then I'll do the giveaway tool, and then we'll be out of here. So right here, obviously you guys know it's not finished, but let me see if this will work. So I've got my little lights. See, little guys right here. This will go inside here, and you can use a tea light too. You don't have to use these. Make sure it's not a real light. You don't want any fire underneath there because they'll burn. All right. Okay, but you guys get the idea. Okay. See how it's going to be lit up? It's going to have like little light on it like that. I think that's a good color choice. I'm probably going to actually take this down and antique it distress a little bit more. But you get the idea. Okay, guys? It's going to be pretty darn cool. All right, now let's flip up and we'll go and get the giveaway tool going. And let me see. I need to switch my camera over here to the top. Okay. What do you guys think? Pretty cool, huh? Pretty cool idea. All right, now let's do the giveaway tool, guys. Get going. I need to share my screen. I'm running out of time. Only got a minute left. Share a minute left. By the way, make sure you go over to see. It's Judy from Wyatt's Whatnots. Judy from Wyatt's Whatnots. She's always got some really fun little painted things that she does. All right, so make sure that you guys can see it. All right, and here we go. We're going to start collecting. Kendra! All right, Miss Kendra. Okay, Miss Kendra, check you out. Good for you, girl. All right, Kendra Holmes. So, Kendra, what you'll need to do is send me your private message me and send me your email address, and then I'll be able to get that over to you. At the end of the month, I do all that. Okay. So, you guys, thank you so much. I hope you love that project. Definitely, we'll get it finished up today and get it posted so you guys can see everything. And go over and see Judy, hang out and see Kim. I think she's up at 4. And I'll see you guys later. Bye bye. Love y'all.